Welcome to our new episode of IBridge, Experiential Learning Talks. Today we have with us a colleague, a friend, and an Eduvator, Dr. Dinesh Kamra. Good morning, Dr. Dinesh. How are you today?
Morning, and namaste from India.
Oh, lovely to see you. And again, so thank you very much for taking the time to talking to us. So you're familiar.
Thank you, Dr. Banti.
Welcome. You're familiar with our podcast. So we are going to have this informal conversation for us to help aspiring leaders, also to give some tips and share your experience, your background with all aspiring leaders and people who are approaching the leadership positions. So let's start. So you call yourself Eduvator. Can you please explain us, so tell us a little bit about the combination of this word?
Well, first of all, I think I should go by my introduction, formal introduction.
Yes.
Of course. Thank you. Well, I'm Dr. Dinesh Kamra. I'm a double postgraduate in Masters in English Literature and Masters in Education. And I do hold a doctorate in education. Well, my journey has been versatile, right from spanning corporate roles in education leadership and then mentorship. Over the years, I have got the opportunity to devise and design SOPs, policies, manuals, and handbooks for hundreds of institutions worldwide. This has been a great learning for me. Currently, I hold the position of CEO of AKS Worldwide Group of Companies, where we work with institutions over 100 countries to serve them for leadership training, for academic audits, quality audits, in overall improving their academics and taking them to par with the global standards. This is what we have been doing.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So, can you please explain us the title that you use, because it's very unique. So, Eduvator. Can you please ignite us or explain us why you selected this kind of word?
Well, people who do a lot of innovation being into education, they can be called educators. So similarly, I call myself as an educator plus innovator. So educator is the term which combines both. Well, I believe that there has to be constant change, constant dynamism in education leadership. I mentor academic leaders, education leaders worldwide. I have trained thousands of school leaders and helped them improve their systems, help them improve the systems in their school. Though I have trained most of the school leaders in 100 plus countries, I have traveled more than 150 countries. There is a lot of learning from each and every country and every education systems I have come across, I have encountered. So wherever I go, I try to learn their culture, I try to learn their system of education, I try to learn their way of life. Similarly, when I go to train my leaders, my probably mentees, mentee principals, I try to incorporate my learnings from the past visits of different schools worldwide. So being an educator and educator, I need to be constantly in touch with new learnings, new happenings in things in the world and incorporate my trainings further. That's
all right. Thank you. And linking with what you're saying, so your ongoing learning. If you look at the past when you started, and if you look at yourself right now, as your leadership style evolved during the years, changed, improved, or has been different approach, you had a different approach with different leaders. Can you tell us a little bit more?
My leadership style has evolved, from when I began being a directive, almost. And then as learning went on, experience went on, mingling up with people went on, I learned to be more of collaborative, And now, at this time of my age and experience I have, which is probably around 20 plus years, I have learned to be more of adapting. As and when required, I can adapt into the systems, I can adapt to the environments and learn to be how to behave in that particular environment. So this is how I have enhanced. And now, if you see, when I mingle up with the educators worldwide, I try to understand uh, uh, their way of educating, their way of education, their cultural diversity, and I have learned to be, exercise shared leadership. So now I emphasize more on empowering leaders by giving them guidance, by making them adapt into new systems of education which are prevalent worldwide.
All right. And again, so I'm really intrigued, really focused on what you can share with us and our audience. If you can think about your past and your present, can you share with us some challenge you faced in educational leader during your career and how you were able to address that?
Being an educational expert, I have had the opportunity of visiting probably 1,000 plus institutions, helping them improve their quality by doing their quality audit, along with my team, of course, by doing their quality audits, by doing their safety audits, by doing their academic audits, So the biggest challenges I have found is probably making the educators and educational leaders in different school settings to adapt into new technologies and innovations. Right. So this is probably I have learned that people into education are more resistant to change. Though we have noticed in the past few years, at the time of the COVID, most of the educators and education leaders became geeks overnight. They have learned it a lot, but still there is some resistance to change. So the biggest problem, the biggest challenge that I have faced, and I see my mentees face in their school settings, is making the educators adapt new technologies and accept challenges and try to understand new systems and then adapt them. That is the biggest challenge I face myself while mentoring the education leaders worldwide, and my mentee principals and mentee directors in the schools face the similar thing in their own subordinates. Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. If we look nowadays, so we see that education is facing some challenges. So there is a need of a shift in the paradigm in education. What do you think we can do from yourself, from your side, from your experience and background to help education to make this paradigm shift in improving education worldwide?
Well, improving education requires lot of systematic shift towards student-centric learning environment. Right. Well, I have been educated, brought up in Indian settings, more of the time in government schools, public schools, you see. There I see the teachers were more of directive nature. They used to just direct the students. They're supposed to cram their learnings, and that's it. But now the world is changing. I see. There's a lot of shift required from being a teacher-centric to student-centric learning. Right. So key actions include integrating technology shift, fostering critical thinking, and breaking down silos between subjects to encourage interdisciplinary learning. It has not to be, even the teachers, even the educators need to be trained in such a way that they can teach multiple subjects, if required. So to facilitate this all, we need to make our educators to be lifelong learners. There has to be constant training, ongoing training.
Yes.
And a lot of policies to be accordingly changed, because policies direct the institutions, policies direct the educators, policies direct the systems. So there has to be policy change in the institutions to encourage all.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Linking from what you're saying, so to develop teachers as lifelong learners, what do you think is going to be beneficial in terms of professional development, something that you also mentioned? What is Are there any suggestions from your side that we can tell to the audience? So in what way they can develop themselves? Is there any topic specific or thing specific that you can address?
See, the initiatives I think could be, which I personally support, to focus on continuous professional development, right? Continuous professional development, ongoing trainings, hands-on experiential trainings, hands-on international and global exposure, and peer-to-peer learning. Whenever you go for educational leadership trainings of school principals, I always tell them to create an ecosystem in the school, within the institution themselves, so that they can have learning hubs, right? Learning hubs. Every teacher is given a chance to be masters of a particular subject or a particular skill. It may be a core skill, it may be a soft skill, probably. And at every weekend, I suggest, and every weekend, each teacher with their own competence, with their own skills they have mastered, should give training, should give mentoring to other teachers. The same thing has to go on. Similarly, each and every teacher probably is given a chance to be a master trainer within the school, so that he or she can train the other teachers, and every teacher can develop the skills that others have. So every teacher will be probably a versatile teacher now. This is I believe should be the action to be taken.
Powerful. Thank you. Really, really powerful.
I got in between. Let me tell my company's job. AKS Worldwide, we do a lot of mentoring of school leaders worldwide, right? And we develop institutions, set up their systems. We develop their constitutions. We develop their policies. We develop their SOPs, their manuals, handbooks, and so on. And of course, templates to be used for different probably tasks and departments and in the school. So at AKS Worldwide, we do a lot of mentoring and a lot of system-driven things in the school.
And a link also with my last questions. It is something that it needs to be helpful for aspiring leaders. As you mentioned, you mentor a lot of leaders from all around the world. What advice will you give to aspiring leaders that they wish to have an impact in education and they are starting to experience leadership in international schools?
Well, my advice to education leaders and educators worldwide would be probably to stay curious. There should be hunger of knowledge. There should be lifelong learning approach, So advice is to stay constant curious, keep on learning, remain open to learning a lot. Whenever you get chance, you start learning. Be patient, yet persistent in accepting and driving change, of course. And it's essential to understand that learning is very important. And leadership in education is about serving more of institution, students, yet empowering all the stakeholders together. So as a leader of education, you're supposed to be adaptive and then do this thing with your stakeholders. So empowering stakeholders is your duty, is your passion. It has to be your passion.
Right.
So for that, probably the school leaders must build global network with people as of their similar positions, their peers worldwide, learn from them, teach them, probably find out new ways, learn from their learnings, learn from their mistakes, and probably teach them about your learnings. So building networks worldwide, learning from others is very important. Staying curious is very important. And then probably having a culture of openness, having a culture of adaptability, having a culture of learning is very important to be a leader in education. This is my probably advice to aspiring leaders and probably working leaders who want to improve themselves, who want to take them to the next level of leadership.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Kamra, for being with us today. Namaste. It has been a great opportunity for us to learn from you, from your background, your experience. And look forward to see you very soon, maybe in our new Experiential Learning Conference in Astana or here in Baku.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lord Bantini. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you.
Great pleasure. Again, all the best. Namaste.
Thank you very much for being with us today and to listen to our podcast, IBridge Experiential Learning Talks. I'll see you to the next one. Thank you.